Hello, everyone. Welcome to Free Write Friday. My name is Jessica Lynn Johnson. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of Soaring Solo Studios, and I am also a director of solo theater, and I have clients all over the world who I'm honored to work with. I've been in this field for about 20 years. I'm a solo artist myself. I have 2 solo shows under my belt, and I'm contemplating a third. I've done a little writing on it. I am also on the advisory board with the Los Angeles Women's Theater and a blogger for NoHo Arts. My blog is called Soaring Solo, and it's all about tips and techniques and tools for the solo artist. So that's a little bit about me. I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Please say hi. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know where in your solo journey you are. That's always great to know as we develop community. So the mission of Free Write Friday is really to explore structure or different writing devices that we can use in the development of our solo shows, just so we have a good jumping off point. So it's more of a heady analytical experience than some of my other events, such as isolate, meditate, or create and create. So hopefully this will help you structurally and really looking at the components of creating a solo show. We don't really get into sharing our work in this space, and we don't do Q&A in this space. I'll just teach you a lesson and then we'll write about it, and that will be that. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes tops. And if you miss any episodes of Free Write Friday, you can always find it on my Soaring Solo YouTube channel. So look that up and watch all the different episodes you've missed and a whole bunch of other videos that I have on there as well. And the next Free Write Friday is going to be taking place Friday, April 1st. 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I just ask if you have your cameras on, try not to do anything distracting. Otherwise, then go ahead and turn them off. And let me think. Please have something nearby you to write with and write on, unless you're someone who prefers to kind of audio record yourself and then transcribe later. That works too. We just need a way to capture what comes up for you. Okay, let me think if there is anything else. All right, I think that's pretty much it. So previously we've been focusing on Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. And now we're done with that and we're switching modes again. And we're gonna be looking at Prologue today. So Prologue, and as I was really kind of studying Prologue and looking into it, there's a lot of opinions about Prologue. Some people love them, some people hate them, whatever. I'm just going to give you my input about what a prologue is and how it can serve your story, and then you can decide if it feels like the right fit for you. But essentially, it's just the opening to a story. It gives context, gives background details. Sometimes it's something that has happened well in advance of the actual timeline of the main story, but it's something that informs the main story. So I'll give you some examples of how you can have a prologue-like device in your solo show. Let's see. So for instance, if you saw Mary Gillerman's From Crazy to Sane or Am I? That was in Solo Fest a couple of years ago. Basically, she opens the show introducing us to the facets of her mind, the different characters in her mind. So we meet ancestral energies, and we meet guiding light, and we meet Mary Scarlet and Little Mary, and she shows us how each chair on stage and each prop represents these different characters. And then as we begin the show, she steps into those characters, she becomes them, they each help to narrate the show. So it does serve as a bit of a prologue to kind of welcome us into the world of her mind. Another example, I think this would constitute as a prologue, it's at least worth consideration, is Luca Lyman in Island Girl. She starts the show with a very private moment. I believe it was intended to be, a prayerful moment where she's really grappling with her faith. And we don't exactly know why. We understand that something major must have transpired, but we're not exactly sure why. And we spend this moment with her. And in the next beat, we enter the main story, and we're following Sprite named Spot, who is our primary narrator. So we just had that kind of prologue moment with Luca to meet our protagonist. So we know that she is, in fact, the protagonist of the story, not Sprite named Spot. She's the one that we're going to be following. He's just the narrator. So that's another example. Or for those of you who have seen Redeem Her by Tatum Langdon, who many of you know, she starts her show with a monologue by a character, Nick, who we never return to again in the script. Nick just has a very heightened monologue where he's, insulting her and her moral compass and her ethics, and, essentially calling her names and everything. So we understand judgment, we understand guilt and shaming from outside sources from the get-go. And then we pop into the regular part of the story where we meet Tatum herself, and she serves as our primary narrator, although there are other narrators in her show as well. So there's different approaches you can take to a prologue, but essentially you want to be making sure that a prologue is even necessary to your show. Are you giving expositional information that we need, or are we just talking ad nauseum? So making sure that the expositional email content that is given in the prologue really serves the rest of the story. And I guess I would also consider, so for those of you who saw Becoming Peace by Candace Carnicelli, she starts with Martin Luther King's Jr. speech and her thoughts on it as a little child before we move into her adulthood and meet her as a narrator. And I think this serves as prologue because it gives us a historical event that majorly impacts her as protagonist and is kind of the jumping off point for the rest of the show. We see how this historical event really influences the whole rest of her journey, which is really incredible. So those are some examples for you to consider. And as you write today, I want you to think about, if you were to create a prologue a moment before your show really starts, is there a particular character point of view that you would want to write from? Like, for instance, I see Diana Varco on this call today, and I would almost consider Shame's speech in Shattered at the very beginning of her show. That has some prologue qualities to it because we're just with Shame at the top of the show. And we're getting a sense of a main character, although not our protagonist, but it is a main character who's going to be important. And we're getting introduced to that perspective and the influence of Shame throughout the show. So that's another prologue-ish example. So just thinking about your own world, is there a character's perspective that maybe could open the show with a prologue, tell us a bit about the world that we're entering into, and maybe we do or do not ever return to this character's perspective again, but it's a good perspective to get the information out and then move into the rest of the story. So you can think of it that way. Or is there a historical event that has taken place that really influences you, or if your solo show isn't about you, influences the hero of your solo script journey? Is there a historic event that we need to contextualize and maybe we need to make actionable at the top of the show so that we can give that background information before going into the rest of the show? Or maybe it's simply you talking to the audience for a bit expositionally, but then keep it short and sweet because we don't want to bore them with exposition, welcoming them into the world, introducing them to characters and themes and location, whatever information the audience is going to need to really get grounded, similar to how I said with Mary Gillerman in From Crazy to Sane or Am I? We meet the main characters we're going to be with throughout the show. We understand it's contextualized in her mind. So we understand the atmosphere that the entire show is going to be taking place in. So those are a few examples. So don't worry about getting it right. I just really want you to explore the possibility of this moment before the show, this prologue moment that kicks off the story. And I'll give you 8 minutes and just see what comes up for you. Again, it's not about getting it right. It's about exploring. And I will let you know when your time's up. About 3 minutes left, 3 minutes left. Okay, please wrap up your thoughts. And if you did it on a recording device or in a journal or something like that, please transcribe later. You never know what's going to end up being valuable to your solo show script. So it's always good to document all of it. Okay, so just some announcements. As always, we have a lot of wonderful things going on in our community. Starting with my next free class, The Art of Creating the One-Person Play, is happening Saturday, March 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a 90-minute free class. And this month, I'm actually doing it in association with the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival. I always dedicate one of my free classes each year to the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival. Now, all gender expressions are more than welcome to attend, but it is being co-facilitated by LAWTF. Just RSVP on my website, soaringSoloStudios.com, under free stuff to sign up. You don't have to have any experience, and there is an opportunity to share work in my free class, unlike FREEWrite Friday. And then if you wanted to work with me in a more professional capacity, you can always email me, again, soaringsoloartist@gmail.com. We can talk about the intensives or one-on-ones or small group or power pairs or what is any of that stuff, and determine what would be a good fit for you. And then the Revealed series is started back in September, and it's going through April. And essentially, it is an opportunity for artists to share works in progress as a reading, a virtual reading with a virtual audience, get feedback on their scripts, And hopefully that will help inform the script before it goes to premiere. So if you're interested in being a part of that, you can always email me about that. Or if you just want to tune in and watch and give your insights to lend to the creative process of your fellow solo artists, it is always greatly appreciated to get that insight. And I know we have a revealed episode coming up on Monday, March 14th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And that's with Larry Davidson. It's called The Undiscovered Country. And Larry's a magician and a father, and just has a really unique experience from when he basically almost died, and just what he experienced during that near-death experience. So if you want to attend, we would love to have you there on Monday, March 14th. It's just donation based. You can give $1, you can give $100, you can give anything in between, whatever you want to do. All proceeds go toward the artist and their creative process. So yes, that is happening. And it's just a great way for artists to figure out what's working and not working with their solo show, and to put a meaningful stake in the ground. If you missed or want to return to Isolate, Meditate, Create, my meditative visualization event that I did all throughout the pandemic. You can find all 120 episodes of that for free on my YouTube channel. And I just lead you through meditation and visualization, and then we write together. That's a great way to get out of your critical mind or your busy mind and find stories that want to come forth and are usually pretty deeply buried. And meditation helps us dig those out. As I said earlier, next FREEWrite Friday is April 1st, 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you missed any episodes or want to watch this one again or any other ones again, you can find them all on my YouTube channel as well. And just don't forget to RSVP to get your Zoom link for this event. And Joshua Tree. So Joshua Tree's Solo Theater Festival that I'm co-producing with Kevin Bone, who's a wonderful producer in the desert. He's also a solo artist and has been a member of this community for, I think, like a decade now. Kevin's been around for a while. We are very excited to bring this event to the desert for the first time ever, and we're hoping it's going to be something that becomes a yearly tradition. It's going to be really, really special. It's happening from Friday, April 29th through Sunday, May 1st. So it's just a really in-depth, immersive weekend. And we only have a handful of VIP on-campus reservation spots left. So it's $199 for the whole weekend, and that includes your housing, which is crazy good deal, but Kevin knows people, so that's how we pulled that off. So you'd be staying at the retreat center in Joshua Tree, immersed in solo theater for the whole weekend. We're going to have workshops. We're going to have readings, performances, open mics, salon performances, all kinds of things. So it's just going to be incredible, and it's a really awesome opportunity to get to know your fellow solo artists in this community and be together in person. That will be awesome. So email me about that if you're interested. I have a handful of spots left. And finally, Solo Fest, largest solo theater festival on the West Coast, is still going strong with Whitefire. Started in January, ends in March. I would strongly encourage you to hop over to the Whitefire. We still have several Soaring Solo people performing their solo shows. Lisa Pizik just had her solo show premiere last night, and lots of members of our community went out to celebrate with her, and that was very special. But it's continuing on. So check my calendar. If you just go to soaringSoloStudios.com and look under events, you'll see the full calendar of things that are coming up and how you can get involved, because this is a solo show, but it is not a solo journey, and we need our community, certainly. Okay, well, I'm going to jump off, but I will leave the chat up for a little while in case you want to say hi to one another or just jot down all those different announcements. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful Friday.